Hello everyone, it's Audrey Miller with Living in Hayward, Wisconsin. I'm the broker owner of Northwest Wisconsin Realty Team, and I have this channel to talk about all things real estate related and also just to talk about living in Hayward and what it's like. So today I'm going to take you on a tour of Lac Courte Oreilles Lake, and we're also going to attempt to do the passage over to Grindstone Lake and into Little Lac Courte Oreilles so you can see what that looks like. So mostly I'm going to have the camera turned the other direction. It's a beautiful Saturday in early August, and come along with me for a ride around Lac Courte Oreilles Lake near Hayward, Wisconsin. So the first thing I'm going to show you here is Muskie Bay. So this is in the southern part of the lake. This area is called Muskie Bay, bordered by some tamarack swamp on the one side. We'll just kind of go the whole way around here. And also this is towards the western side of the lake, but the southernmost point of Lac Courte Oreilles. So Lac Courte Oreilles, in case you don't know, is a 5,100 acre lake in Sawyer County. It's one of the Tier 1 premier lakes in the area. And if you look along this shoreline, this is some of the only frontage on Lac Courte Oreilles that is a little marshy. Back here in Muskie Bay, you can see these people have to have boardwalks, some of them, and there's some marsh to get out to the lake. But then when you get down towards the end of Muskie Bay, it starts to be much nicer frontage. This area, this peninsula that sticks out into the lake, is called Victory Heights. So we're on the one side of Victory Heights here, and we'll go around to the other side after a bit too and show you that. All right, so I gotta show you one of the things on Lac Courte Oreilles that kind of makes it special. This is called 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿 Point. It's a huge sandbar that comes out from off the tip of Victory Heights. So we are along the shoreline of Victory Heights on the west side right now. I already showed you the other side that was towards Muskie Bay. Now this is the west side of Victory Heights Peninsula. But check out 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿. So people go here, they tie up their boats, they get out and stand in the water. It's pure sandy bottom and absolutely beautiful. And so if you want to go party with other people, you drive over to 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿, and on any given summer sunny day, you'll find many boats just like there are today, sometimes even more if it's like July 4th weekend. One of the questions I get asked a lot is how busy is Lac Courte Oreilles by buyers who are interested, and it's hard for me to substantiate that because I don't know what someone else considers to be busy, but I'm going to give you a taste of it. To me, the lakes up here never really get that busy compared to what I've heard about, say, like Lake Minnetonka or something like that. But on any summer weekend, I mean, today's August 1st, it is beautiful, 80 degrees, hardly a cloud in the sky. There's a decent amount of traffic, but because the lake is 7 miles long, it never really feels that busy anywhere unless you come to 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿, and then it's fairly busy. Another question that I'm often asked is about bars and restaurants on the lakes, especially from people who aren't specifically familiar with, you know, one of the lakes in our area. So on Lac Courte Oreilles, there are 2 bars and restaurants. They're basically on opposite ends of the lake. So right over here, sorry about the shaking, we're on a lake and it's kind of windy today. So there's a few small white caps and we're going up and down just a little bit. But the green, right where that boat's going, these green docks right there, that is 𝐼𝐻𝐵𝐿𝐼 Resort Bar and Restaurant. So it's almost directly across from 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿. If you see this little group of houses on the lake, right on the shoreline, and you go just down the shoreline, then you're at 𝐼𝐻𝐵𝐿𝐼. So they've got a little bar restaurant there, some cabins you can rent. And then the other bar and restaurant on the lake is called Trails End, and it's way down on the far end of the lake, about 7 miles, almost 7 miles away. We're not going to probably go to that one today, but they've got a great beach there. They've got really nice outdoor seating. It's a bigger restaurant and bar than 𝐼𝐻𝐵𝐿𝐼, so there's a little more space there. There's a playground for the kids and all of that. So those are the 2 bars and restaurants that you can boat to on the lake. So now we are over on the other side of Victory Heights, which I believe is the north side of Victory Heights here. And here's another question that I get a lot from buyers, and that they'll call me and ask me, or they'll tell me one of their wants when they're looking for property in our area is a beach. They want a beachfront like this. And what I tell them is that this is very, very rare on the lakes in our area. Now, we do have a lot of sandy bottom frontage under the water, but to have an actual beach is pretty unusual and highly desirable. So also, if you're a seller and you've got this low elevation type beach frontage, especially if you're on Round or Lac Courte Oreilles or Grindstone, even on some of the smaller lakes, this is a premium lot to have on these lakes. And there's not much of it. On Lac Courte Oreilles, I would say there's about 3 spots, and they're all fairly short. This is the biggest by far, where you can actually get some beachfront on Lac Courte Oreilles. So this is on the end of Victory Heights. As you're driving into Victory Heights by road, these would be the houses that are on your right-hand side that have this beachfront. We call this the Gold Coast. It's kind of a inside joke, I guess, but the Gold Coast of Lac Courte Oreilles. There you have it. All right, so you can see here on the little map that we're about halfway up the lake now. This spot here on this little peninsula and this house that you can barely see back in there has long been one of my favorite places on Lac Courte Oreilles. I don't know who the owner is, and maybe you'll see this video and let me know who you are, but that has always been one of my favorite houses on this lake, just because I think they've got the most amazing spot there tucked back in the trees on that little peninsula. One of the fun things to do on a lake like this is just to cruise the shoreline and look at houses and kind of see what people have. You know, try not to go too close for people's privacy, but it is kind of a fun thing to do. There's always new houses popping up, people remodeling, that kind of thing. One of the things that I appreciate about the Department of Natural Resources in our area is that there are restrictions about how much of your shoreline that you can clear. So this keeps our lakes looking more natural, even though there is a lot of houses on a lake like Lac Courte Oreilles, and the land has been really developed over the years. Minimum frontage is 100 feet of frontage, which isn't too much, but that's the minimum. But you're only allowed to clear 30 feet of that, or 1/3, I should say, or what they call a viewing corridor. So this does keep our shorelines looking a little more natural. It is a pretty unusually windy day here on Lac Courte Oreilles. We don't get a lot of strong winds, but today is quite windy, so I apologize for it being maybe a little bit harder to hear me. And I'll just show you, when people ask how busy it is. Right now, we're just, out and about here, and I only see about 2 other boats at the moment, and it's been like this all day so far. This is a Saturday in the middle of the summer. Of course, you'll see people tubing or jet skiing, especially on the big, wide, middle part of the lake. But it's not, other than, I will say, July 4th weekend, it really isn't that crazy when people talk about it being busy. And if you come out here midweek, it's even much, much quieter. So when you see a lot of houses on a shoreline on a lake such as Lac Courte Oreilles or other lakes in the area, and you're like, how did they build so many places in such a small area? That is typically an old resort that got turned into a condo association. You've probably heard me talk about the condo associations in our area and how every person owns their own cabin, but the frontage is shared. So when you see a lot of smaller cabins in a kind of a tight area, that will typically be a condo association. Same thing with all these docks in a small area. That's not really allowed unless they're grandfathered in and were present for at least 15 years prior to 2026. So one of the cool things about Lac Courte Oreilles is that it is connected by water to Grindstone Lake, which is another beautiful Tier 1 clear lake, known for smallmouth bass fishing from what I hear. So you can see here, we're coming up on the channel because a lot of times people will ask me, can you get between the two lakes? And you can see here, as we are not far from the channel, I'm going to show you how shallow this water is. I don't know if you can see, but it's like very, very shallow, probably not more than about 6 or 12 inches deep. So I was gonna try to take you through here, but I have heard that lately, especially with the last few years that we've had of less rain, if you wanna get through here, you almost have to walk the boat through this super shallow part. My captain, which is my husband, said we're not going through. The boat's hitting the bottom here and we're in just a little small fishing boat. The water is only about 12 inches deep here, but you can see the channel to go into Grindstone right there. I think the very shallowest part is right here before you go under the bridge and then on the other side of the bridge. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show you how to get through there unless we were to get out and walk it through, and I don't know if I am up for that today necessarily.